Non-Catholic prime minister receives communion at St. Peter's. The Armenian prime minister received Catholic communion in St. Peter's Square yesterday, despite not being a Catholic. The 50-year-old journalist was attending the canonizations of 7 new saints, among them Armenian Catholic Archbishop Ignatius Maloyan, who was executed during the Armenian genocide of 1915. The canonization drew tens of thousands of pilgrims, clergy, and dignitaries to the Vatican, including the prime minister, who belongs to the Armenian Apostolic Church rather than the Catholic Church, and he was receiving Holy Communion on the tongue in a Reverend Mariner. So he's going to be among the Oriental Orthodox. Video footage broadcast by Armenia's News.am showed the prime minister approaching a priest to receive the Eucharist. According to Catholic teaching, they say, the Eucharist is reserved for those in full communion with the Church, baptized Catholics who affirm this teaching and who are spiritually prepared to receive it. Non-Catholics are normally excluded, except in rare cases where they share the Church's faith in the Eucharist and cannot access a minister of their own community. That's 100% false. Whoever wrote this article, Niwa Limbu, they're incorrect on this. They need to review the Code of Canon Law one more time. Now, that might be what one prefers to be the case, right? Whether or not that should be the case is a different question. And whether or not that was the case, before the Code of 1983 is another question. But the current Code of Canon Law does not have this qualification for Oriental Orthodox. Code of Canon Law 844, paragraph 3, Catholic ministers administer the sacraments of penance, Eucharist, and anointing of the sick licitly, that means lawfully, to members of Eastern churches which do not have full communion with the Catholic Church. So that's going to be your Eastern Orthodox, Oriental Orthodox, which this one, he's part of the Oriental Orthodox, Assyrian Church of the East. If they seek such on their own and are properly disposed, that is, they're in a state of grace. This is also valid for members of other churches which in the judgment of the Apostolic See are in the same condition in regard to the sacraments as the Eastern churches, like the Old Catholics. Okay? So there's no qualification there about if they cannot access a minister of their own community. That's 100% false. For better or worse, like it or not, Eastern Orthodox, Oriental Orthodox, Assyrian Church of the East, Old Catholics can walk in any Catholic in the church, in the world, without any qualification, without any condition, and receive the Eucharist. No questions asked. They don't have to have a situation where they don't have access to a minister. They can have access to the priests right down the street of their own community and still walk into any church in the Catholic Church and receive communion. No questions asked. No other conditions. So in the case of this prime minister, did he receive it licitly? Yes. So they're incorrect on this point. They say the incident raises questions over protocol at papal liturgies and how such occurrences are handled when prominent public figures are involved. Well, they're just mistaken. They just are apparently not aware of very basics here in the Code of Canon Law. What they are confusing this with, if the danger of death is present, or if in the judgment of the diocesan bishop or conference of bishops, some other grave necessity urges it, Catholic ministers administer the same sacraments licitly also to other Christians not having full communion with the Catholic Church, who can approach a minister of their own, who cannot approach a minister of their own community, and who seek such on their own accord, provided that they manifest the Catholic faith in respect to these sacraments and are properly disposed. Who's it talking about here? It's not talking about Eastern Orthodox, Oriental Orthodox, Assyrian Church of the East, Old Catholics, or anyone else. It's talking about Protestants. And that's apparent from the previous paragraph. So it's talking about rare cases where a Protestant can receive communion. That's the one that has those conditions. So I think what they did is they confused the paragraph that's for Protestants and they applied it to this guy who's Armenian Orthodox. And that's, yeah, I mean, look, I get it. I mean, I could totally understand why somebody not well versed in the Code of Canon Law would make that mistake. I'm not an expert in the code, so I get it. I make mistakes too. But yeah, it's allowed. So that's a different question of whether or not it should be, whether or not this is a good thing. But it is allowed. So everything that happened there was licit. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I just want to remind you, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Also consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/reason and theology, or just hit the join button to become a channel member right here on YouTube. Okay, let's get back to the video. Historically, Rome has kind of flip-flopped on this issue of communicatio in sacris, the idea of sharing in sacred things, sharing in sacraments with non-Catholics. I think I have a whole lecture on it. And there's a really thorough article that the late Bishop Callistus Ware, that I had the honor to interview before he passed away, Metropolitan Callistus Ware, well-known figure in Eastern Orthodoxy in the last century. He wrote a very important article, because I think it actually involved his doctoral dissertation, if I'm not mistaken, on the question of sharing in sacraments between Catholics and Orthodox in history. And he shows cases where, Rome has allowed for the sharing of sacraments and sharing of ordination, sharing of Eucharist, sharing of confession, and all sorts of stuff in some cases. And in other cases was opposed to it. I mean, the Holy Office at one point said it's against divine law to share in sacraments with one another, which is an odd thing. If it's against divine law, why kind of waffle on the question back and forth? But the church in the preconciliar period did kind of have different policies at different times for different groups. That's a fact. In the conciliar and post-conciliar period, rooted in some of the reforms of Vatican II, you start to have a shift here. And it opens up the allowance for sharing in sacraments between Catholics and non-Catholics, especially those that trace their ordinations back to the apostles, so apostolic communities. You find that rooted in the documents of Vatican II, and then further published and promulgated in the Code of Canon Law and other areas after Vatican II. So it is a licit thing. Whether it should be licit, different question, right? But yeah, here on this particular one, yeah, they did everything by the books. And that, I guess that's a shock to people. It's like, I guess you didn't get the memo. It's kind of been a thing since the late 60s. Where you been? I don't know. Those are things I just wanted to tackle. I hope you all enjoyed it and appreciated it. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I also want to remind you of my lecture this weekend. Sharing my screen just to remind you. On Saturday, giving a lecture on, let me share my screen so you can see it, on understanding papal infallibility, its history, its nature, what it is, what it isn't, and challenges, difficulties to the doctrine of papal infallibility, as well as some potential responses to them. We're going to examine that academically in 2 lectures on October 25th at 12 p.m. Central. So whether you are a Catholic or not, whether you're a Christian or not, you will love and benefit from this lecture. So if you're just fascinated with the question of papal infallibility, what it is, what it isn't, its history and challenges, this is the course for you. Go and sign up now, because as soon as you do that, not only are you getting the early bird discount right now, but as soon as you purchase it, you'll get 30% off my courses on the magisterium that teaches you what the teaching authority of the church is, how it's structured, what its roots are, the history of the magisterium, all 21 ecumenical councils, major papal documents. We go through it all, and also then how to read and evaluate and interpret magisterial documents. 3 courses that I offer at the university level, now available to you without the university price tag. It's already at a bundled and discounted price as a bundle. But once you purchase the papal infallibility course, 30% off the already bundled price. You can't beat that. You definitely, if you want to understand how the teaching authority of the church works, the magisterium, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you're Catholic or not, you just want to understand how it works. And you want to be familiar with the documents. this is the course for you. The most thorough certificate program that I've turned into something available now to everyone. The best content out there explaining to you what the magisterium is and its history, available to you, and get that discount. If you cannot attend the lecture on October 25th, 12 p.m. Central, that's fine. Once you purchase it, you'll always have access to it. So even if you can't attend online to ask Q&A at the end, that's fine. Go ahead and purchase it anyway, because you can always come back to it and access it. And the course, if you get the Magisterium Studies program, it's at your own pace. You could do it at any time. So you don't have to have a certain time period by which you do it. If you purchase it, you always have access to it. So go and take advantage of the discount. Now, everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed this video clip. I have a link to the full video in the comment section. If you enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. We'll see you next time.